Welcome back. We're still here with Marcus Wagner talking about politics today, and in a minute we're going to talk about the Tea Party movement a little bit. But first, tell me about the Second Tuesday Constitution Group.
Well, the Second Tuesday Constitution Group, I have become recently affiliated with them. These guys have exceptional organization. And they have a mission statement that I wholeheartedly agree with. Again, I'm loosely affiliated with them, but I have no problems speaking for them because I've been impressed with what they do, and I think that we share common goals. And our common goals are basically the return to our Constitution and the way that it was written. The Second Tuesday Constitution Group, though, I first met them at, of all places, a healthcare town hall debate in Dublin, Virginia. Rick Boucher was speaking down there, and it was pretty clear that we shared similar visions and similar views on healthcare for sure. Obviously opposed to any type of government healthcare. And then I ran into them at a couple of other places. And again, this is a group that has pretty much sprang up out of nowhere, like so many of these groups nowadays, to include the Tea Parties nationwide. Various other groups started through churches, different organizations. But it is a sign of the times in that our government and the electoral process is failing us right now. It is clearly failing us. And so you will see more of these groups emerge. But the Second Tuesday Constitution Group, you can find them on the web at www.secondtuesdayconstitutiongroup.com. That's with a 2ND, Tuesday, and you can read their mission statement, and it is basically a return to the values that this nation was founded on, especially our founding documents.
Now, what type of things do they engage in?
They are all about education. Their tactic and their method for returning to constitutional values is simply educating the citizenry en masse about our Constitution, something that all too often is not done today, even through our public schools. So the Second Tuesday Constitution Group is involved in even contacting school boards, especially on Constitution Day, distributing pocket constitutions. They are all about educating people as to our founding documents and trying to inspire people to get active and to take a part in this process to return our nation to those founding documents.
I guess it's Second Tuesday because they meet every second Tuesday of the month.
Yes.
What goes on at the meetings, and what would people...
Pretty exciting. I would encourage people to come out. They actually have different speakers. They've had, at every meeting, and it is obviously held, easy enough to remember, on the second Tuesday of every month at the main branch of the Roanoke County Public Library near Cave Spring Corners, across from the post office. And what they will do at their regular Second Tuesday meetings is they have different speakers come in, sometimes from the John Birch, the last meeting in October, I believe. They had folks there from the John Birch Society, and they speak on constitutional issues, how our Constitution was written, what it meant, and how it is affecting us today, and how our government is dealing with constitutional issues today. So they're very educational meetings, they're very social meetings, but again, the group itself, the meetings themselves, probably would not exist were it not for the failures of our current government. So.
Now, across the street from where the Second Constitution Group meets there at the public library last Friday, there was a Tea Party event.
Certainly.
And that was where I ran into you talking to the people who came out to the Tea Party event. That one was protesting the health care legislation, which is going to be voted on this week. Now, what were you talking to people about, and what...
My goal, my personal goal, and I would like for other folks to take up this goal as well, is we are in a cultural war in the United States of America, and the enemies of our Constitution, whether they be the media, foreign entities, government officials themselves. They use the power of the media, they use our culture against our nation and its founding documents. And so when I go to one of these rallies, I have one goal, and that is to inspire and encourage people to continue to come out to these rallies. I want to inspire the defenders of our Constitution, and make no mistake about it, I would love to demoralize her enemies. And that's my purpose when I go to these rallies. I want to encourage people to become more active, and I want to show the enemies of our Constitution that the buck stops here.
Well, I guess the evidence will be coming with respect to politicians following through with what they've told us. One politician who was at that particular rally was Congressman Bob Goodlatte.
Right.
Now, let's stop for a second. This is what Congressman Bob Goodlatte had to say for us.
I came down here to thank these folks for turning out and standing up for limited government and opposing this massive health care bill. This bill was 1,000 pages long when they introduced it, and it's 2,000 pages long now. So what's happened? They've added more and more and more government regulations, taking away your choices time and time again. And now, if you look at this bill, they use the word shall 3,425 times in that one bill. And every time you see shall in a piece of legislation, you know that is taking a choice away from you. Because usually when you write regulations and legislation, the choice is between may and shall. They went with shall in this bill, meaning they're taking your rights away and giving them to government bureaucrats, and that's why I'm opposed to this bill. It's going to cost more than $1 trillion for a country that is already broke, and it is already far too overtaxed. It adds nearly $1 trillion in new taxes, 53 new government agencies and programs. This is a no-brainer. Everyone should be opposed to this bill because it's taking their freedoms away, and I'm glad you're out here to remind folks of that today.
Now, we appreciate Bob Goodlatte very much for taking a moment to talk to us, but what do you think about his message to the people there?
Well,
what do you think about his, I guess, how does he mean it?
Well, I have, I will be clear again as far as citizens with their, putting their faith in a politician. Bob Goodlatte, to hear him tell it, he has voted correctly on all of the issues. But what has his voting record done for our country in the last 18, 20 years? I'm not sure how long he's been in office, but it's been a while. He's a career politician. And the fact that he's discussing healthcare legislation is a problem in itself. We need leaders on the conservative side, on the side of our Constitution, that are setting the terms of the debate. When our so-called leaders, Bob Goodlatte included, are constantly defending our Constitution and our nation against the debate that has been set for them by the Democrats, we can't win. We will continue to lose. And as far as Bob Goodlatte is concerned, I'm sure his intentions are good. I'm sure his voting record is good. But him and his party have failed our Constitution repeatedly over the last couple of decades. And the proof is in the pudding. If you look at where we are today compared to 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, the Republican Party should be ashamed of themselves.
I keep wondering how candidates who say they're for this and constitutional value, and they belong to a party that isn't doing that and hasn't done that. It kind of reminds me of, I think it was Gwen Mason who was running for House of Delegates, saying that solutions don't have a party. Well, she does. She's chosen a party. So if solutions don't have a party, why does Gwen Mason have a party?
Right.
Well, I'm constantly just flabbergasted at what is said to us. And sometimes, I have to admit, I'm a bit offended that someone would think that I'm so stupid or so gullible as to, one, believe the lie they're telling, or two, not hear what they're exactly what they're saying. How stupid must one think I am to tell me, they don't
have a party?
I don't think that, I don't support the government forcing environmental rules on average citizens, and then real quietly at the end, well, yet.
And I think government regulation is not the first answer always to things, and that voluntary compliance is the way to start.
Right.
Not,
Well, that's
and what she's trying to say there is that she's against these things, but what she really means is, I'm against it right now because you're not ready, but I'm for it just when the time is right.
That is another thing that I've learned about politics.